Mark Dismore has moved up in the field and now runs in 8th place. And there is Robbie Buell running right now in 12th place. First view of his onboard camera today, so attrition very definitely playing a role. The third and final jewel in the Visa Triple Crown Challenge is Saturday, June 8th on ABC Sports. Join us for the 128th running of the Belmont Stakes. That's Saturday, live, June 8th, here on ABC Sports.
And Paul, I just wanted to mention, if everybody wonders why Salazar did so much spinning, just kept on spinning and spinning and spinning, again, it's because it rained all night or this morning, and it's very wet. Once you get water on the tires, there's just no adhesion between that and the pavement.
Well, as we look at the full field rundown at the conclusion of 103 laps, it's more than wet down there. That's almost a swamp, Gary Gerald.
Paul, we were checking with the crew and Dick Simon, who's on the radio with Salazar, to see if he gave any explanation for the contact, and he said no, there was nothing. He just radioed and said, I had contact with Lyondike. Let me show you, however, here's the toe link piece. This is what's bent on the left front suspension, this piece right here. They'll have to see how the car handles at speed, whether or not they have to change that. It's much easier to change that as opposed to having to change one of these entire suspension arms. Apparently, they're rigid, solid, okay. But if you're going to have a bent toe link, it's better to have it on the left front, I'm told, because you may be able to still handle the race car. It's not as critical on that particular corner.
Yes, Gary, but it also could create an unsafe situation. Anytime the suspension is broken, it could be cracked. That could mean that it may break later on.
Hey, Gary, I've got a question for you. We wonder why Salazar turned down so sharp, and he spun, and he comes up with a flat right rear, but he never hit anything with the right rear.
Oh, the left rear, Danny, that was flat on his car.
Was it the left rear?
Yes, and that's where he got into. Lyondike was on the left side there.
I stand corrected. I'm sorry.
Yeah, all the damage that we saw when they came into the pit was strictly on the left side.
Well, Danny, it's just as confusing because the car was going around so many circles.
Davi Jones is the leader of the race, but remember there is a 10-lap interval between the last time he stopped on lap 87 and the last time most of the front runners, with the exception of Richie Hearn, stopped. Now, as we're ready to pick the race back up, Arie Luyendyk has managed to get back into the fight, but he is 5 laps behind the lead of the race, running in 17th position. Top 5 cars are on the leader lap, and don't forget, last year you had Jacques Villeneuve go 2 laps down and come back to win the 500. And Arie Luyendyk's reporting to his crew, according to Jack Arute, that it's steering a little hard. Here comes the green flag, 105th lap. They're starting 106. They're looking for the leader at the starter stand, and there he is, Davi Jones, making the turn into the corner. Lazier, that purple car with the yellow verticals, that'll be the second-place car, followed by Roberto Guerrero.
Now, a little story on Davi Jones, who is leading the race right now. Paul, is he was out of sequence on the pit stops with Rick Gallows before. Rick gambled on the yellows to try to get him back into sequence. Well, they're basically back in right now. They're not very far apart because the yellow flag helped.
Roberto Guerrero just moved out and around Lazier and picks up second place. So Roberto Guerrero, a little better momentum, I think, on the restart, Danny.
He had a great run off of turn 2 and just blew by Lazier is the best way to describe it. But, you know, Buddy might be conservative here and just working his way back through.
Obviously, Guerrero wanted to get up pretty hard. And remember, he has boost to run, gave him extra speed, plus he can run in his racing gear, which is 5th instead of the cruising gear.
So a change at the second position of the field is Roberto Guerrero, who is looking very strong today. Moves out and into second place. Davi Jones still the leader, but he's been able to pull away just a bit. Now 3.1 seconds. There you see it as we continue to track the leader of the laps and the rest of the field up at the top of the screen. There's Davi Jones heading down in the corner. Now you look back, and there is Roberto Guerrero, closely followed by Buddy Lazier.
And don't forget, he's got a little bit lighter fuel load. Not a lot, but a little bit lighter. But he doesn't have as new tires as the other ones do, but he's got a little lighter fuel load, and that might be helping him. He's also out in front where he's got that clear air.
And then as Guerrero came into turn 2, entering the turn, getting down to the white line at the apex, he was wiggling a little bit. But I think he's running pretty hard.
109 laps complete. Davi Jones, the only car in the field with Mercedes-Benz power, out in front as he drives, of course, for Rick Gallis. Roberto Guerrero sits back in second place. Fort Cosworth there, Lazier, Zampedri, Groff, Hearn, Dismore. 110 laps complete. Battle at the front of the field for the most is broken off, especially when you consider that on the last lap, Davi Jones turned the lap at 229.4 miles an hour. So the pace is still incredibly quick here, though the average for the race is at 143.6 miles an hour. We'll return with more from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway after this message and a word from our ABC stations. At Indianapolis, no changes after 114 laps. Let's look at the rookies once again. Stewart, of course, out. The key story here, I think, is that the top 5 cars are all veterans. Richie Hearn, who started 15th and is now 6th, is the leading rookie in the race. And Danny Sullivan has been keeping track of some of the speeds and times on the last couple of laps.
Well, yeah, we haven't, further down in the field, they're a few laps back, but Dismore ran a 2:27. Cheever, who's way down, ran a 2:34. Lazier's running around the 2:21 mark, and Jones, who's out there in the front, is posting speeds up as high as 2:28.
And after spinning on the first lap, Mark Dismore is now up to 7th.
You know what was really surprising is Salazar, with the bent front end that we know about, went out right after he hit the track with new tires and everything, went green. He turned 227, but he's obviously having some problems, Paul and Danny, because now he's down to around 213. So maybe he's wearing a tire out a little bit.
So there's the leader of the race, Davi Jones. You got a glimpse there for a while at the number 8 car of Alessandro Zampedri. He runs in 4th place. What a great run for that young man.
Now Richie Hearn in that number 4, just ahead right there to the left, that yellow car, just past Davi Jones. Now he's down a little ways, but he's really been coming to life. I've been watching down here in turn 2, how he runs up on him and finally just passed him. That means he gained 1 lap back there.
Well, what that does is puts him back on the leader lap. So
and he's running strong. He ran some 223s, 227 I saw earlier, but that makes me question a little bit, how's Davi's car handling? Or has he just got a pace, and that's all he wants to do is go at that pace?
I think Davi's handling good. It's just a mere matter that Richie Hearn just been getting with it, and he's moving up. Right now, he's the fastest car on the track.
Now, remember, Davi Jones stopped last on the 87th lap. It's now lap 117. He is out of sequence with most of the rest of the field, with the exception of Hearn. Eddie Cheever into the pits. His days become very long and difficult.
You think that's a standard pit stop there, Bobby?
I don't know. He has had so many problems, Danny, I guess I can't guess on him anymore.
I've lost track, and I don't know whether he pitted in that last yellow.
Well, he came in 15th place, well off the lead of the race. Now we'll take a look at the interval. There is Davi Jones as he crosses the line, looking back to Guerrero. Right there it is. So the interval 6.2 seconds between Davi Jones, the leader, and Roberto Guerrero. And we've got a car in trouble. Driver climbs clear of it. Looks to be Velez.
It is Velez.
Hard to tell.
It is Velez, Paul. And he's right down here just past us, coming out of turn 2 is where it happened. He's on the inside wall right there.
So the yellow flag comes out. Is that, Bobby, could you tell, is that a crash, or did he just drive it there because of a fire or something? Do you know?
Paul, I can't tell. I just, honestly, there's no skid marks going down there. My idea is he's an indentation on the wall. He just parked it there.
Yeah, maybe he knew the fire trucks were there and he wanted to get some assistance. So Davi Jones is the leader, and we're yellow once again at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 118 laps of the 200 complete. Still under the yellow at Indianapolis. ABC Sports will return here to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in August for the 3rd running of the NASCAR Brickyard 400. And then 2 weeks later, we're off to New Hampshire for the next stop on the Indy Racing League circuit, the New England 200. We've got great motorsports action all summer long right here on ABC Sports. Now, today's stories in the race is the field now finally getting a chance to head